One of the really difficult things about building on the coast is corrosion, because obviously you've got the salt in the air, the sea air, so you have to be really, really careful about the materials that you're selecting and making sure that you've got real sort of rust resistant elements to the building, because otherwise within a few days you'll start to see the rust appearing. So that's one of the biggest things.
In terms of designing longevity and durability into the building, we thought about materials that would ultimately endure over time, and also weather with dignity. We chose Sapele for the external timber cladding because it has just incredible oils within the timber itself, which protects it from the onslaught of the weather, just like cedar. But there's a depth to the Sapele that we felt the cedar lacked. Also, the anthracene roofing, it has a titanium coating. And again, it's bomb-proof, for want of a better word. And the stone as well, stone just ages gracefully, and we just encourage the lichen and the mosses to grow on it, to sort of embed it into the site. And I think the goal for us is to create a building that feels like it's always been there. It's not fighting anything. It's at peace with itself, and it's also at peace with its environment in a way that sort of goes beyond our individual lives and maybe even our clients' lives, that it's something there for a very long time.
And then I guess the other thing is obviously the wind and the rain, and just making sure that you've got the angles right and some sheltered places. The one thing that we really had to be careful of, particularly with the big glass panes that we have, was protection against the wind. So we had to be really considerate to the wind loading and the strength of the glass that we were using, to make sure that when we do have those sort of 90, 100-mile-per-hour gusts that do come off the sea very, very occasionally, that we're protected against that.
In terms of the specification, we wanted a very thin mullion, and I think we got it down to about 20 millimeters in the end, which is incredibly thin when you think about the wind loading. And we worked very closely with our consultants and the glazing manufacturers to sort of achieve that aesthetic. Obviously, level thresholds, between the inside and the outside. Emphasising the views really come down to the floor to ceiling height. We compress the floor to ceiling height here in front of the windows, and then it goes up to give a much more sort of larger, voluminous interior. But ultimately, you get this wonderful horizontal band of glass that looks out to the views. But one of the things the clients were sort of surprised about was the fact that we wanted to bring the roof over the balcony to the front. And here in the Gower, it's brutal, obviously facing the southwest winds and the predominant sort of gales that come off the Atlantic. The building needed to have an overhang and protect the balcony, because 80% of the time it would be raining or it would be howling wind. But the projection of the roof also helps with the solar gain, so it reduces the heat build-up, but it also allows you to fling the doors open in the summertime when it's raining and there's no wind. And you can sip a G&T on the balcony, and you can actually start to use this wonderful interstitial outdoor space and bring it into your life, rather than having just an inside and an outside. We wanted the lower ground floor to be a heavy, enduring mass to protect those bedrooms and to sort of emphasise this feeling of coziness and warmth and protection, so that the first floor would be this lofty deck where you'd be up there in the clouds looking at the sea, but downstairs you'd be hunkered in away from the storms and protected from the onslaught of the wind. Especially in Wales and other parts of the UK, there's never bad weather, just the wrong clothing. And we've applied that to our buildings. Let's put the right clothing on our buildings and make sure that they can accommodate this variety of weather.